So basically, I just wanted to remind you guys what to do in these months or weeks of chaos, especially if you live in the US. Of course, violence has grown extremely due to COVID and after COVID because, I explained before that it's actually demonic. Think of COVID basically as like a period in human history where, right, the devil is allowed by God Almighty, as he's always been, to just start another level or sort of revolution of more evil, more chaos, more division, more craziness to come out. It's easy for him to do that because the majority of the human race are evil. They're possessed, therefore, by demons. A large majority of them are extremely mentally ill, which there's no such thing as mental illness. It just means they're very evil and their demons possess them to act crazy. So, if you get the demons out of them, they become normal, is what I'm saying. So religion is the solution to them. So demons make sure a lot of human beings get to this level of craziness, like really mentally ill. And there you go. They're going to just use them to create more problems in this country and all over the world. And it's not just what you think, right? Like they're just all in the street, homeless, taking over all the beautiful cities and downtown and making businesses and people anxious rather than just more peaceful, better places to go, like maybe the bushes or whatever, what you would expect instead of sleeping in front of someone's business, which is wrong to do. It's not just that. Some of them don't look mentally ill. They're the ones driving cars and committing crimes. They're the ones running around, getting into law enforcement, government, political, important jobs. They put on a nice suit, a nice dress, and they're just gonna make laws now. You don't even know, extremely psycho humans are there. I don't even know where the decent humans are anymore. I don't know where they're hiding. I don't know where they went, but they seem to disappear, basically. But usually they come out when good leaders come out. They have someone to support. So in this period, right, of great chaos, there's going to be a lot of different groups always advocating for something. Those advocating for Palestine. I don't want you to think they're good people. It depends. Only God knows. Some could just be not knowing what they're getting into. But I told you, if they don't know what they're getting themselves into, they're going to stop, But really, the actual main portion of that group are not doing that because they care about people dying. They're just crazy. They just have nothing better to do, and they're destroying their schools. And they act like they have the right to control a school or where their money goes. You can only advocate for something. You cannot act like you have the right because it doesn't belong to you. It's not yours. And you don't have the right to use violence when people don't listen to you. That's not rational. You can only use violence in self-defense for your own life or protection, or you're trying to protect someone's life, etc. But you're supposed to talk about these things because it's a government. There are certain, businesses and corporations like schools, they own what they own. That doesn't belong to you as a student. You have the option to drop out. You know what I mean? You don't get to go to that school and destroy it. That's not rational. That's not moral, therefore. It's a sin. So you're not going to mix a good moral thing to fight for, right, which is to save people's lives. You're not going to mix that then with you doing something sinful, which is then abusing your country, abusing the buildings that other people own, their businesses, other students. The fact that they want to go back to school and study something, you're ruining their life. So that's how you know something is demonic. They're going to act like they're advocating for something moral, but they use methods that are evil and harmful and doesn't go along with what they say they're fighting for. That's how you know they're not doing it from a place of love. So there's just going to be a lot of weird groups, a lot of sort of cults, basically. They're all going to just come out of nowhere because they're extremely possessed. And I do believe the COVID vaccine, a lot of them took it, is causing a lot of them to have a lot of problems, that their demons are controlling them way more. And that doesn't mean they don't know anything. Obviously, they get permission. The demon takes their permission to act crazy. God will not let a demon do what they want to you. Otherwise, how can he put you in hell, right? It's their choice. I just mean the demon is behind it, Okay, so all over the country now, almost every state is going crazy that you would say is a cool sort of hub of wealth, like New York or where are the other places? Nashville, Pittsburgh, I actually traveled a lot in 2020, and I went to almost all these states. I went to Pennsylvania. I almost went to New York, but something stopped me. It was so sort of supernatural. And I went to Delaware. I went to Virginia. I went to, where else did I go? Maryland. Almost, all these sort of states. And then, kind of just traveling all over the place. I went to Texas, but demons, tortured my life and put me in jail for a crime I didn't commit. So this time that my life is under attack, for some ironic reason, I'm not arrogant, I'm just trying to make a point, okay? For some strange, ironic reason, the day that I decided to leave this country, which was 2019, before COVID, around June, July, August, when I was sort of trying to leave and start that humanitarian organization and just go live my life, because demons have the power to persecute me like a prophet, but I'm not a prophet. So I actually have been going through a lot of hell because of that all my life. When I wanted to get away from this country and just try to start new again is when COVID all of a sudden starts. All of a sudden, all these crazy human beings come out everywhere because the decent humans are in their homes. They're not even expected to pay rent to keep their homes as much, The government sort of protected you to some degree. They didn't evict you. But, I would say decent humans are just going to their job, coming home. If they've lost their jobs, they're just living with their families. So every day there are people just constantly going outside in these vehicles, just driving around all day. They are not going to jobs. They are not going to school. They don't have business. They're the ones who are possessed to persecute me every day. They're extremely psycho. A lot of them are very mentally ill, as I said. They're not normal, healthy people I grew up with. So that's actually what the COVID is for. Demons would not have the ability to persecute me this much if COVID didn't happen. So COVID is from the devil, and he's using that as a way to actually follow me around, and it's easy because I'm not around those decent humans I grew up with. Every public place I go to, they're not 50, 40, 60, 70% of the people there. Because then how can those crazy human beings over there who are staring and watching me and stalking me and trying to call cops on me for something I didn't do and trying to assault me and bother me, and how can they do anything, right? I'm surrounded by all these good people. Instead, I'm surrounded only by them. I'm talking about a whole city. It doesn't matter where I go. So it's supernatural, correct? Because good people live everywhere. They just somehow disappear. Even some 1 or 2 people that I've seen in the city that I was in last year, right? Where they used to sort of approach me, and it was actually from God, and they would try to help me with things, just give me things. Even I don't see them anymore. You know what I mean? Whoever's decent, I'm not going to see them ever. Only really crazy mentally ill human beings who keep renting the same vehicles, very rich, very brand new type of vehicles, same colors. They want to sensitize you. They're just constantly driving in the city. They don't actually live here. There's not really normal people driving around. So that's the persecution I'm going through. Demons are possessing these crazy humans, following me around everywhere I go, limiting me from everything you can imagine. And it's not something where I can call you and ask you for help. No, God has to help me. It's one of those things where I don't even want to seek other people who maybe are normal. But too, just so you know, I don't even know who those people are. Everyone's possessed, and I don't want to put myself through that anyway. So it's like one of those situations that religion teaches you where God has to open the door. I'm waiting for him to open the door, because this nonsense started right when COVID started. The persecution got worse for me, even though demons have been following me around using human beings who are very evil. They're possessing all my life. They ruined all my life. But real deal like persecution tactics, right, where vehicles are literally driving towards me, creating accidents right a few blocks from me, putting people in car crashes right in front of me, just to irritate the hell out of me. I don't feel anything. It's just like if it was a video or a movie. I don't have any feelings. I'm not scared of nothing, just so you know. It doesn't affect me. They lunatics. They're crazy as hell. I still have the right to curse them and put punishments on them, and it will happen to them. God accepts my prayers. But if I curse you, you're doomed. If I pray for you, you're fortunate, because God accepts my prayers right away. So I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I basically have divine missions similar to a prophet. So very soon or one day you are going to know about me. It's just not now. And I can't even tell you who I am because I don't know fully who I am. I just know who I am in the sense of why I'm being bothered and harassed by demons. I just know who I am in terms of what my qualities are. But I don't know necessarily, right, the sort of definition God would give me himself. I don't know. And because of that, I have to deal with lunatics just coming everywhere I go, parking there, sitting there. If they can't bring humans to it, they bring pests to it. They can't bring pests, they bring animals. If they can't do none of that, they make noises in the walls, and it's just constant cracks and boom, boom, boom all day. There's nobody there. That's how you know it's demonic. Okay, enough about me. Basically, I'm just saying that all this stuff is connected. You know, all the global chaos is connected to when I was attacked with a higher level of persecution that was intended to try to accuse me of crime and put me out of jail and put me at a mental hospital to try to accuse me of mental illness in order to hide why these complete strangers are bothering me and following me around in the first place. They're demons and they're persecuting me because I have a mission like a prophet does. I have to do something about religion one day, and I have to help people one day. So God gave them the power to bother me, just like they bothered all those men in the past. I'm a woman this time, so that's different. And there's a reason for that. So that's kind of, I'm going to have a sort of different life, therefore, different missions. But it's all happening around the same time that I am being elevated by God spiritually is what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be arrogant again. But I have to be honest about the timeline. I have to be honest about the states that I go to, all of a sudden getting crazier than the other states in this country and more crime coming to it. If I want to go to a state, all of a sudden it gets attacked. It becomes a crime-ridden place. All these extremist people come to it, maybe migrants. It just becomes a crazy place, right? I tried to go to New York for some time, and there you go. New York got crazy, and everyone now had to leave New York. I'm sorry. If that was your awesome state you lived in, I'm sorry, you don't know, but even though, again, I'm not saying you have to believe this, but I just want to tell you, and if you want to, you can. It's actually because I tried to come there the past sort of year, and then it got attacked. Demons bring bad problems and issues to that state, and it just collapses. Obviously, God will stop this sort of extreme level of the persecution. Duh, he's going to have to let me breathe again. But until then, the places I seem to go to are just going to go crazy. The place I'm in now is sort of okay, I would say that. But it actually got crazy too. Sort of like the downtown sort of cities of it is ridden with all this homeless, way more than any other states. But when I first came to this state, it was so clean and safe and nice. That's how you know I'm being persecuted if you were to ask me for evidence. One day maybe I can ask the government to just watch all the cameras, all the CCTVs of when I first came to that city, that state. And they're going to see the difference. Within hours, within weeks, it just drastically changes. And it's not hard to prove it. The humans are the same, So they may not even be from that state. They're the same humans who keep coming to that area, creating the same problems and crimes every day. How can you not prove that stalking, correct? But if I leave that place, there are times that I leave a neighborhood, not even a city, and it goes so safe and so quiet that whole week. So I can prove it I'm being followed by demons through the human beings in that environment. I can prove it they're demons and not human. Because what they do is physical, it's in your face, it's behaviors you can observe, it's repetitive, and it follows where I go. If I leave that place, the place becomes peaceful. That's not rational, right? If it had nothing to do with me, then the place could be that way all the time. But it's when I'm there, and if I leave, peace comes. What? So one day I'll be able to prove it very easily using actual footage and stuff if I sort of get access to that. And you might be like, why would a demon do that? That's dumb. It's going to expose them. God won't let them. Goodness, how can God prove they're following me if he doesn't do something like that for you guys, right? Something like I just said, where they have to come to where I am, do certain behaviors that are similar that you would know then it's something familiar following the person. When the person's not there, they also stop doing those behaviors. That's God's way of proving that I'm actually someone being persecuted by demons or the devil or whatever. Anyways, sorry, enough about me. I'm just trying to explain this topic. I'm trying to explain this topic basically of how, right, due to COVID or after COVID, all these crimes, they have nothing to do with COVID. Why would a virus cause crime? Why would a virus cause unemployment and homelessness, all these problems? It's not rational. It's just a virus. People can just get back to their life. It's because it's connected to me and it's connected to other things that are spiritual that are about to happen in the next few years. You know, something sort of spiritual is about to happen. So for that reason, demons are being allowed to ruin the world basically before that sort of big, cool spiritual thing happens, which is a good thing. Just so you know, something good is about to happen, which is God. He's going to bring down his help. Okay. And because, you know, I'm going to be part of trying to, I don't know what he'll ask me to do, but I'm going to be part of whoever he'll use to bring down some of that knowledge down, right, of the corruptions of his religion, or I'm going to be part of that. So therefore I'm being followed. It's happening around the time that my life is personally being attacked, and the places I personally go to or I want to go to are where problems are happening more. Okay, anyways, for that reason, I just want you to know, if you're in these sort of major cities, especially the ones you would say are really weird, like there's just too much crime, too much problem, just so you know, some of them is actually because I tried to go there. So if you live in these places and you're like, why is my city going crazy? Why is my state getting crazy? Why is something sort of big happening? For example, right, the migrants came to New York, okay, and now I don't want to be specific about other states because I don't want you to know where I'm trying to go, but you could say certain states right now that are having certain big political things happening, right? Even today, there was like an attempted assassination on ex-President Trump, you know, and it could be sort of, it didn't really seem real to me. It seemed sort of orchestrated. I don't mean by him, only God knows. It just seemed orchestrated. It didn't seem like a real situation, but I don't want to put my opinion on that. It just, you get me, like a lot of weird things are happening in certain states. I swear to God when I say this, I could go to hell if I lie, so I'm going to swear by God's name. I swear to God Almighty. I swear in the name of Allah. I tried to go to Pittsburgh the past, around June, that month. I actually tried to go to Pittsburgh, sort of, right, the past 2 months. I'm not joking with you. I tried to go to Pennsylvania because I was there before, and there was a reason why I wanted to go there one more time. And now look, something sort of big that's bad happened in Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, which is attempted assassination on Trump. So I'm saying the places that something big, right, some sort of big news is happening is connected to me. Very essential, very important, very big. And you know something horrible is coming for the country, some division or whatever that is, right? Because sometimes you can tell some extremist groups are trying to come out, right? Like they call them left wing, right wing, whatever. Just the places that you would say something big is happening rather than something generic, right? Just crime, just homelessness everywhere. No. Something big, right? Like an actual attempt to kill Trump. That's a big event. That state, that city, wherever it is, just know it's connected to me at some point. I'm not trying to be arrogant. And I'm not saying you have to even know this. Isn't this my podcast? Don't I try to tell you a little bit of who I am every now and then? So that's why I'm sharing this. I'm not saying you have to know this. I just want to explain why, to some degree, I don't go to certain places, even if I want to go there. You might be thinking, you always tell us your life is not stable. Well, why are you not doing this and do it? Because that's the point. God won't let me. The places maybe I want to go to, well, something crazy happens there. Maybe God doesn't want me to go there. You know, that I don't know how to explain. The demons cannot endanger me, just so you know. It's just something bad or big is about to happen there, and God doesn't want me to go there. You get me, like that? Not because it's bad for me, but it's just, I don't know how to explain. It's just not a place God wants me to go to. So he's delaying me and limiting me. Only he knows why. Every day I get pissed off. You know? You don't know how angry I am that I'm just stuck here waiting every day for God to just move my life forward and make these demons leave me alone, because I'm sick and tired of these human beings. Imagine seeing the same crazy, extremely mentally ill human beings around you every day. This is a city. I'm not in a mental hospital. I'm sick and tired of seeing these crazy people every day. I told you they don't look mentally ill. They have homes, they have dogs, they walk around, they have jobs. What the hell? Mentally ill doesn't mean the crazy ones who are homeless, who are drug addicts. They really are mentally ill, the average person in this country. They're very harmful, very perverted and psycho, okay? Ugh. But usually these ones are the worst ones that you could say usually just are in the street every day bothering people. Exactly, because how could a demon use the more decent humans who are just toxic? How could he use them to get in a car and stalk me everywhere? That's not rational. They don't want to agree to something that dumb. They have a life, correct? So it's really the ones who would agree to such a nonsensical thing. Their demon tells them to just follow me around for hours in that road all day. And sometimes they don't know I'm in that environment, right? I can be inside a building, but they're going to get that human's agreement to just drive around that area all day for 8 hours straight. Who would agree to that? Extremely mentally ill humans. Do you agree? They're psycho, obviously, crazy. So that's what I'm saying. I'm sick and tired of them because I'm actually getting sick from being around them because imagine you're a healthy person and you're surrounded by the worst of God's creation, the most sick ones. You're going to get sick, obviously. You know, they don't have to bother me. I'm just getting sick from seeing them everywhere I go. Goodness, I don't even know where to shout or yell anymore. Goodness. So, okay, I'm sorry. The point of my episode was that if you're in these major cities, right, like Pittsburgh, Nashville, if you're in these places, I'm telling you right now, bad things might start happening to it. Things just might start coming to it. I want you to pray for yourself because you don't know how close that is to you. You know, you don't know how close that is to your environment, your situation, your job, whatever situation you're trying to prepare. And for the person that I created the podcast for, I mean, I don't ever want you to be scared. I know God will protect you. You're human. Pray for yourself. If you feel scared lately or if bad things are happening in your major city, you know, they're usually going to go after sort of downtown, really cool, like cities usually, like Pittsburgh, you know? But I swear to God, I'm so pissed off. If I want to go somewhere like New York, you guys know what happened to New York. It's ruined. I wanted to go there. I want to go to Pittsburgh. Oh, now all of a sudden an attempted assassination happens in Pittsburgh, and that's why God didn't let me go. And I know you guys might be like, we don't have evidence you wanted to go to that state. How do we know you're lying? First of all, you shouldn't assume I'm lying. I don't think I look like a liar, but for the sake of argument, you know, it's not hard to prove it because I can show, right, all these months, the way I was trying to get jobs there or the way I was trying to book tickets there. I can, you know, there's actual things on my online content that you can see that I was doing in those months, right? Like New York last year, I applied to so many jobs there. I even got an AmeriCorps job there, you know, and then just God made it get ruined or something. I just gave it up because he didn't want me to go. You know, the reason I wanted to go there, God changed it. I no longer, that reason was no longer there like that. It changed to a different location. So then around that time, right, then God sort of did something to the AmeriCorps where the humans, their demons possessed them to actually ruin my application. It was so irritating. And then I didn't go. Like that. I can prove it because I actually have that interview, that application, all that stuff. I have record of that stuff, all the interactions I had with those people from New York. The moment God rejected me from it, all the migrants come in, all the crimes come in, all this nonsense comes in. I mean, what? How can I not prove it? When I want to go there, God doesn't let me go, and then bad things start happening to the city, to the state, or maybe to the employer that I wanted to go to. The employer goes, just broken down or whatever. I can prove it, okay? That's what I mean by I'll share my testimony one day, inshallah. But just, it's so irritating. But just please be safe and protect yourself by praying, okay? Don't just be like, I'll just be safe. No, you have to pray because not only everything we have to pray, right? But just even more you have to pray because this is actually more spiritual than just a typical bad crime, because that's also spiritual. Demons are possessing all criminals. It's just this is more spiritual, you know, way more intentional, and there's a plan that the devil has to ruin certain environments in this country. And right, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but a lot of the places that are gonna be destroyed in this country or have problems is actually connected to me. Either I live there, or I'm about to live there, or I'm trying to go there. It's actually connected to me. It's not the entire country, goodness. North Dakota doesn't have a problem. You get me? It's for some reason the places I want to go. That's why they stalk me and monitor me. They want to know where I'm going. You might be like, why do they stalk you? They want to know what I'm up to. It's not just to sabotage my life, harass my life, bother me and hope that I hit someone and go to jail. It's not just that sort of bad intention they have for me to ruin my life and accuse me of bad qualities. They actually want to know what I'm up to. For example, there's certain organizations or people or employers that I might reach out to, right? Instantly, that place gets full. I see a news on my YouTube. It's intentional. The demons want to piss me off. All of a sudden, I see this news about that organization or employer or whatever, that they can't accept people anymore or something. What? I just messaged you last night. You get, I swear I can prove it. A lot of the things happening in this country is because of me. Because it's when I message somebody, when I want to go somewhere, when I apply to the job. And you might be like, well, that could be a coincidence. You're right, because bad things happen every day. But if it's repetitive, would you believe me? Yes, and that's what I'm saying. God wants to prove that what I'm telling you is true. He's on my side. He wants to help you believe me. So he makes the demons do it in a way that it's so repetitive. You're going to get pissed off on my behalf. So please pray for yourself. If you're in these environments that right now you're noticing crazy things happening, like for example, there's this sort of, I think they're called right wing or whatever. I don't know, just these extremist men just marching right now in Tennessee, right? I don't want to be specific about the city, but whatever. I can say it is fine. It's Nashville. Like that. Just bad things are going to start happening in certain cities or whatever. And you might be like, why are you telling us this? What if, you said you have an evil family that demons are possessing to stalk you. You don't obviously want them to know where you're going or where you are. You probably shouldn't expose these places. Because it's fine. I'm not going to these places like Pittsburgh. I try to go to these places, so I'm not bothered that I'm exposing some of the places I try to go. You get me? Because I now gave that up. Because God is saying, no, you're not going. So then I can at least give you some evidence, right? Otherwise, I have to wait later if I still wanted to go there, right? Because I can't expose that for my safety. But now I can, because I know it's an end thing. I have to give it up. I mean, since it's been happening so many times, since all of them, God is showing me, don't go. If he doesn't stop me, right? Like maybe let's say I try to get a job there and they don't accept me so many times. Then he just finds like the emotional part of me to stop me. Because there are times I got so angry with God and I said, I obviously have to some degree in this persecution. I still have some ability to get what I want, some freedom from him, I can just go right now and get something if I want. Or I can wait for God to give me the better version that I'm waiting for. Right? I'm waiting for a better version, the version that I deserve. I prayed for certain things, right? But I can always go and get the bare minimum, correct? So I always get pissed off and I tell him I quit. I'm not waiting for you to help me. I get really angry with God and I don't want to hide that from you guys, because that's what happens when God puts you through closing the doors for you, which means nothing will work for you. Whatever you try doesn't work. He closes all doors. It's important to talk about what the human goes through. Extreme rage. Maybe they sin. Maybe they tell God, I'm not worshiping you anymore. It's good to tell you that these things can happen to us. Right? Religious people are crazy and annoying. They don't want you to ever hear the normal, healthy things that a human feels towards God if they're angry, because it's like that sort of fear they want to put in you. Oh, don't say that to God. That's not healthy, obviously, because one, they're going to scare the hell out of you when you actually one day do start to feel these emotions and thoughts towards God, right? As if, right, you're doomed, you're going to go to hell or whatever. When feeling angry is normal, it's not a sin. You just don't want to behave and speak badly to him. But you can be angry, right, about the situation, what he's doing in your life. So, okay, and maybe you said certain things that were sinful. Okay, it's important to acknowledge that as human beings, we're created to have the ability we have free will, right? We were created, therefore, in the sense that we have the ability to get to such a point. We can express such rage at God. We can say things like that. So it's not normal and it's not healthy to push people away from hearing that these things happen to them. Because then they're not going to know what to do. They're not going to know the tools when they do start to get mad with God that way. And they say things like, I'm going to take things into my own hands. I'm not going to pray to you anymore. I'm not going to wait for you anymore. It's important to tell people that you're talking about, when you're talking about God, that these things can happen one day and come out of their mouth. Because now the solution is what they're going to seek. Okay, then what should we do when we're that pissed off? What should we do when we start talking to God like that? Okay, now you're going to get a solution, right? To just be patient, to just repent. Like, it's possible, then are you not going to be prepared for it? But imagine telling people that these things are not possible. You're a horrible person. Only horrible people do that. No, the most righteous can get mad at God. The most righteous can say to him, I'm not going to worship you today. And then 5 seconds later, they just might cry and say, I'm sorry. It's healthy to tell people what's possible. So that then they're not, right? They're not going to be unprepared when that comes out of them one day, that comes out of their mouth. They're ready now to be like, oops, I'm really pissed off in a very unhealthy way, and I think I need to take a break. You just control yourself. You just don't talk that day. You get me? Control the mouth, because those emotions are not yours. Those thoughts are not yours. All you're feeling is anger and pain. That's it. You might think God is, of course, you just may not want to use the word unjust maybe, but he's putting you through too much, correct? Okay, like that. But the fact that we have to constantly use different terminologies, you don't want to, your mind is saying to you, he's unjust. But the fact that you don't want to say that because you're scared of going to hell and you use other words, at some point the demon is going to put, right, emotions into your mind using witchcraft that makes you actually say that out loud. You know what, God, you're actually unjust. But you scare the hell out of me, I'm going to go to hell. So I actually don't say it to you. But I actually think, it's important to know that can come out of your mouth, So then you really say to him the sort of better terminology. God obviously does not want us to call him unjust. He does not want us to call him crazy. You know what I mean? But emotions and thoughts can be sent to us by demons who make you say those terminologies instead of, my Lord, you're putting me through too much. Something sort of better, something sort of different. And the fact that, right, you have to know there's another witchcraft that comes at you and says, well, you're actually not expressing your true self. You don't think that way. You think he's crazy. So call him crazy. That's also the demon. So you get me? I'm just saying, we have to admit we can get mad at God in a way that you would say no one would advise you to get mad at. Just be angry about your situation. Okay, but the way you speak can go so dangerous. It's important to tell, I'm sorry, why am I repeating this so many times? It's important to teach people that this happens, and it can happen to the most closest people to God. It has nothing to do with morality. Because those people, right, who you would think are very close to him like me, he's just going to put them in a situation that is so extreme that then they could also fall into that sin. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why the type of burden God puts you in usually fits that person. If it was a certain level, then okay, certain people would easily get through it and other humans would struggle, right? Spiritually. Because these ones are really close to him and they understand a lot of religious concepts. They're not going to be bothered. And those people are going to look at them and be like, how come you guys don't feel anything? We get so pissed off every day. We don't pray maybe this day, right? So to be fair to that, God does put everyone through a test that would fit their level of closeness to him, their level of strength. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're really good at something. If I want to test you, if I want to test like how strong you are, is it fair to give you the same test when I know you're excellent at this than someone who struggles way worse than you, someone who's terrible at it? No, right? Because it's easy for you, what's difficult for them, right? So how do I know where your breaking point is? I don't know, right? I mean, God knows everything, but how do I, the human, know when you're going to break down and cry and say, I can't handle this, God, please let me go? Okay, so he's going to pick for me more difficult situations than you guys, is what I'm saying. Of course, my situation is actually specific, right? It's actually persecution that happened only to prophets. But I just mean in just general situations that happen to me, just if I'm just a believer. Okay, he's going to pick situations that are really hard for you, someone who's not that close to him. And people who are very close to him, like me, okay, they would also have similar trials like I do. Not these ones, not the persecution, because that's specific. I mean, just other times that maybe he put me through something that he put through other humans who are also believers, right? It has to fit us because it's not fair to you guys. If we go through the type of test that you guys go through, right? He takes something away from you for 3 months. For me, 3 months is nothing. So maybe for me, he'll take everything away from me for years. Because he knows that I'm going to reach that breaking point. While you reach the breaking point in the 3rd week, right? You get me? So he wants everyone to reach that breaking point is what I'm saying, as you can imagine then. He wants everyone to reach a point of weakness because he wants you to rely on him. He wants you to have faith in him. He wants you to have patience. Every time you sin, he wants you to control yourself. That's really all this is all about. And it starts to consume you at some point. You start to have thoughts say, oh, God is selfish. Why is he so obsessed with us? Like, what does he want from us? Let us go. Let us enjoy this. That's how you know it's a demon and not you, because it seems like, right, its own person. Whatever's talking, that's saying that seems like its own voice. I don't hear voices. I hear thoughts. But it seems like, right, a personality. It seems like something that's living like me. That's how I know it's a demon putting that into my head. You know? I'm not telling you what God puts me through is nice. I don't even know what terminology to use because I don't want to sin. If you told me to just be free and use whatever terminology I want, I'm going to go to hell. So I'm not going to use those terminologies that normally you would describe what God puts you into. You know, so yes, I'm close to him. Yes, I'm doing similar work maybe one day that his prophets did. So you expect me to be very submissive and sort of, no, I'm sure prophets were like me, that were like this. I just don't know how they spoke, right? But I'm telling you, prophets are human. They also reach points where they started to get confused about God. Like, what is, you get me? They don't treat him badly, but it's just they also start to question if God is like, you know what, I don't know how to finish the sentence. I want to be careful with that because I kind of want to go back to reading about it because there's specific words you can use. But God is going to put, right, people who are close to him in situations where they start to question God. You get me? They start to be confused because they're very close to him. The typical test, right? You lose something, people tell you to be patient. Oh, it's a trial. That's easy for them. So he's not going to put them in that typical stuff. They're going to go through way more hell than you. You know, that's just what he does. It's not something I like, but that's what he does. And you actually start to, if you want to know my thoughts, I actually start to hate sometimes the fact that that's the consequence of me being very close to him. You know, I'm not saying that I want to be sinful or bad or ew. No, I just hate the consequence of the fact that I'm very close to him. The consequence of the fact that, right, I would be considered righteous if you studied my character. It actually makes you uncomfortable sometimes. You think, oh, so that's the consequence? I'm going to be put through more hell because I'm actually that close to God. You know? And exactly, that's a thought from the demon. You know, you could just be thinking, ouch, right? That, okay, that's from you. But when it starts to be twisted in a way that's trying to make you hurt so much that you actually may not want to be too close to him anymore, you would agree with me that's not what someone would do. That's a darkness that's trying to tell you that, hey, God is putting you through so much because he thinks you're awesome. You know, he thinks you can handle this stuff. He's going to try to teach you this or teach you that. Therefore, just stop being so close to him so life gets easy for you. That's the demon again. I hear that all the time, just so you know. Goodness, this wasn't supposed to be so long. Anyways, just pray for yourself. And if you're in these major cities, I don't want you to think these things are a big deal, right? Because I don't think it's a big deal. It's just crazy. I'm sure very soon God will stop all this nonsense that started to happen in 2019 and COVID and all the. I do think good things are coming, but at the same time, I do think it's gonna be one of those times where bad things will happen every now and then, right? Like the attempted assassination on Trump, in a way that it starts to feel like our world is gonna get more dangerous for us. You get me? It's like that sort of weird parallel, you know? You observe what's happening in the country or overseas, and you're thinking, okay, we're all doomed, right? Some extreme war, some extreme nonsense is coming. We're all going to be poor. We're doomed. But at the same time, you observe all the good things happening, all the companies moving to certain cities maybe and creating jobs, or some people coming up with solutions and people helping each other. It's like that sort of parallel. So don't be too scared, but be smart and cautious in a way that you do at least acknowledge bad things are happening, you know? And one day it could be very close to your house, very close to your city. And just pray for protection, because you can't just leave a city because some extremist groups are coming to it or some assassination came to it. You can't just run, right? I mean, the government does its best to make it safe, but the devil is controlling them too. You get me? Some of them are going to work against the ones in the government who really do want to help. Because that's how, I'm sure you're wondering how the government does good and bad at the same time, right? If you're evil, shouldn't you always do evil all the time? It's because there's always decent humans in government who actually really like their job, who actually really want to be a good officer. Okay, so they're the ones who are making then things safe. The other ones, they're going to do good because that's their job. Okay, so there's always that balance for that reason, because not everyone goes to these jobs to hurt anybody. Okay, and the ones that the devil is using to create problems are like those sort of criminals that are undercover like a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're underneath their badges and right like that, exactly what you expect. Evil never was obvious. Evil was always hiding thing, right? They would hide, and especially important people like a president, important jobs, right? They always obviously tried to kill them in human history like that. How could that keep happening over and over again if evil humans are obvious? It always happens because the enemy is usually hidden, right? He's just gonna be a regular employee in that place, but you don't know why he was brought there. And there you go. It may not be someone you can discover, even if you study, and even if the government is like, we need to know everything about you guys. Give us your phones, give us your passcodes. They're still not going to know who one day will try to kill who, because it has nothing to do with a pre-planned agenda. It's just they're possessed, right? They're evil humans. Okay, but they do their job every day. Okay, one day the demon could possess them in a way that it really gets their agreement to torturing them with so many thoughts, right? All these evil thoughts, getting the human to be very hateful. They just start to hate one person like that, like a president maybe. Okay, so you see what I'm saying? You can never necessarily know ahead of time when it's going to happen, because you don't know the person's heart. The demon comes to their heart, their mind, convinces them, gets their agreement, and okay, now this human who never had the intention to hurt anyone now gets a gun. It wants to hurt someone like that. So it's just one of those things like regular humans, you know, the ones who don't work in the government, who work in other jobs. The way you don't know when they could explode one day and do bad things, because you know character is a choice. Someone could be good today, but they could be evil tomorrow, right? And vice versa. Exactly. So that's why someone like me, right, doesn't mix with regular human beings. I would only look for people who are really moral, really loving, really good or righteous. The righteous don't really live now, but I obviously, because I have such ability to remember this stuff all the time, while you guys might know it, but it's at your subconscious, you're not going to think about it all the time. Well, I'm always going to have that quality where I'm not going to just mix with anybody. I'm polite, I'm normal, right? If you're my coworker, but I'm not going to mix with everybody, correct? But also because I know who's evil and who's good, because God gave me that ability to actually know the type of character a human has. I don't have to be confused. I actually know if you're evil or good. So I'm going to avoid you without a problem. But, right, it's just one of those things that are frightening. Like if God calls you to marriage, some people, maybe God is not going to get them married. Okay, but some people, he lets you know if he wants you to marry someone. He puts that person into your life, your mind. You know it's from God and it's not from you and demons and whatever and just desire and whatever. You know, you can feel it. You're being pushed to this, even if you try to escape from it. Again, don't forget, demons can torture your mind and push weird, creepy humans, even ugly ones, even people who are not. You're not. Okay, don't forget, demons always copy God and push you to evil. Okay, weird people you don't like, you're not supposed to be with. I just mean when you know, right? You know that God is asking you to do this. Okay, you got to marry this person, but maybe you have to wait. Okay. You know, people like me would actually be very uncomfortable because of what I just told you. Someone could be good today, but evil tomorrow. I don't want to be responsible for what the hell they do to someone one day, right? It's just one of those things where, okay, pray. That's all I could advise you to do. Pray and always do what's best for you and follow your gut. And there's no rules. There's no such thing like, well, I'm this age, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Who the hell cares? We're all going to die. We're all going to turn into bones. We're all going to disappear. We're all going to be resurrected in another time, in another life. We're all going to stand and be judged, for, endless amounts of time. You can't even count it, you get me? And everyone from Adam and Eve till the end of human history, they're all going to be resurrected to stand and live at the exact same time. You know how many human beings that's going to be? You and I, you and I are doomed. Because we're like the last people in human history. We're going to have to wait for all those people to go through judgment from God. Oh, we're doomed. So it's like, even if we die, it's going to take forever for us to meet again, even if we both go to paradise. It's so sad. So just cherish the people you love. I always tell them that you love them. Pray for them. If it's not maybe comfortable right now or appropriate or whatever, to contact them. I kind of use this podcast to express myself. If I feel anxious about anything, I obviously care about good people, and I try to give you good advice here, even if people don't follow the podcast because God's hiding it. Still, whoever one day listens to it, that time in human history that you're going to listen to this episode, still this message will apply, because bad things are going to keep happening. Even if God's leaders come to help you, even if maybe, let's say, Jesus comes down, still this is going to still apply 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, because these horrible things will keep happening, because the devil obviously is who you think he is. Yeah, but this is one of those times. You agree with me? There's always time in human history where things are okay, and then there are times that things are crazy. Well, things are crazy because it's like a transition. Something is about to happen that if you really think about it, would usually be religious, or maybe it's not religious, maybe it's a development. Some nice humans who are not supernatural or anything, but they're just good humans who are going to come and change your country, be good leaders like that. They might be coming and the devil's pissed off like that. Or maybe bad leaders are coming and he's not going to make it calm just because bad ones are coming to ruin things even more. He's still going to make it bad. It's like bad has to happen as long as there's a transition, is what I'm saying. You get me? Whether the transition is good or bad. So that's kind of how you know, when things are just not stable. Some change is coming. But I'm telling you right now, this change is both good and bad. But if we had to weigh it, you asked me to weigh it, the good is going to be better. The good is going to be higher. You might think the other way because a lot of people will die and God will kill a lot of people. There's a lot of tornadoes and hurricanes like Texas right now. That's where I was before. Well, now look what's happening to Texas. Horrible things are happening to it. Again, natural disasters happen everywhere. I know. That's what I'm saying. Don't say that to me. Don't be like, what are you talking about? I'm not making random examples, okay? Please observe the states in this country that really weird things are happening. Extreme things are happening. Whether God is causing it, like a natural disaster, or humans are causing it. I either live there, I'm trying to go there, or God is preventing me from going there, right? I'm trying to go there, like that. It's like that. But I don't want you to think that I'm there when it happens. No, God makes me leave it. Then bad things start to really happen. So I don't want you to think, oh, then you must be either there too. No, I'm not going to be there. He's always going to take me to another state. He's always going to take me somewhere else that you would say is decent and stable and calm. It's just the sort of, gang stalking and all these other powers demons have to follow me around. That's, you get me? Because they use different powers, not just gang stalking. They use other powers to follow me. Multiple sort of different types of persecution. Yeah. For me, it's chaotic, but the actual state, city, everything's fine for others, technically. It just starts to sort of go down, just like other states are going down, right? Like the homelessness. Okay, that's sort of generic stuff that really, okay. But really big events, right? Really horrible things. A lot of people dying, maybe. Or, okay, God either made me leave that place, or I'm trying to go there, and he's doing those things to the place to say, don't go there. That's really all I'm saying. I'm not going to be there when those things happen. He's going to make me leave first, like Texas, and then it's going to go down, It's like that. I'm not trying to be arrogant, okay? One day you're going to know what I'm telling you. I actually have evidence to prove it, okay? That these things are spiritual and it's connected to me to some degree. Not everything, right? Everything can be connected to me, but to some degree it's connected to me, So just for that reason, I can then sort of warn you about certain things because I know what the devil is doing to attack my life. He's attacking a place I want to go live in. So I get to at least benefit from knowing that it's connected to me, because I get to warn you maybe. Like that. Okay, take care of yourselves.